Did you know that the Bible predicted shocking events that are already unfolding today? Get ready to discover the biblical prophecies that are being fulfilled before our eyes. False prophets, wars, natural disasters, and the rise of the Antichrist are just the beginning. The Bible clearly warns us about the rise of false Christs and false prophets in the last days. Jesus, in his Sermon on the Mount of Olives, emphasized that these individuals would not only appear but also perform great signs and wonders, capable of deceiving even the elect. This is one of the most alarming prophecies, as it reveals the subtlety and power of deception of these figures. In modern times, we see a significant increase in religious leaders who proclaim themselves as Christs or prophets with new revelations. These individuals often attract large followers with promises of miracles, healings, and prosperity, but their doctrines often deviate from fundamental biblical truths. In Thessalonians 2:9-10 we read, "The coming of the lawless one will be in accordance with how Satan works. He will use all sorts of displays of power through signs and wonders that serve the lie, and all the ways that wickedness deceives those who are perishing. They perish because they refuse to love the truth and so be saved." This passage warns about the signs and wonders performed with Satan's power to deceive those who do not love the truth. This shows us that not all miracles are of divine origin and that we must discern spiritually. Jesus warns that the deception will be so great that, if possible, it would deceive even the elect. This means that true believers must be continually vigilant and firm in their faith, relying on the scriptures to discern truth from error. The passage in John 4 verse 1 says, "Dear friends, do not believe every spirit, but test the spirits to see whether they are from God, because many false prophets have gone out into the world." This verse emphasizes the importance of spiritual discernment and verifying the messages we receive. Believers are urged to test the spirits to ensure they are from God. In recent years, there has been a notable increase in sects, cults, and religious movements that lead believers away from biblical truth. The media and the internet have facilitated the spread of these deceptive doctrines, reaching people all over the world. People are drawn to charismatic leaders who promise quick solutions to their spiritual and material problems. Many prosperity preachers promise wealth and health in exchange for financial donations. Although they use the Bible to support their claims, their messages often distort the gospel and exploit believers' faith for personal gain. In Matthew 24 verse 6, we read the following passage, "You will hear of wars and rumors of wars, but see to it that you are not alarmed. Such things must happen, but the end is still to come." Jesus warned his disciples that in the last days there would be an increase in wars and rumors of wars. This sign is particularly relevant today, where armed conflicts and international tensions are constantly present in the news. Since the 20th century, the world has seen two devastating world wars, countless civil wars, regional conflicts, and a global arms race. The Cold War, marked by a constant state of tension between superpowers, also exemplifies the rumors of wars. Although these tensions did not lead to an open direct conflict between the superpowers, the threat of war was constant. Today, the tension only increases. The Middle East region has been a continuous stage of wars and conflicts involving various countries and factions. The wars in Iraq, Syria, and the Israel-Palestine conflict are notable examples. North and South Korea are technically still at war since the Korean War ended in an armistice and not a peace treaty. The constant threat of nuclear conflict increases tension in the region. The annexation of Crimea by Russia and the ongoing conflict in eastern Ukraine exemplify the tensions and rumors of war in Europe. Rumors of wars refer to information and news about possible future conflicts that may not materialize but keep the population in a state of anxiety and uncertainty. Luke 21 verse 9 exclaims the following words, "When you hear of wars and uprisings, do not be frightened. These things must happen first, but the end will not come right away." This passage in Luke reinforces the message of Matthew, indicating that rumors of war are part of the prophetic plan but do not yet indicate the immediate end. The modern era is full of examples of armed conflicts and rumors of war. The proliferation of nuclear weapons, cyber warfare, and ethnic and religious conflicts increase the sense of global insecurity. The media plays a crucial role in disseminating information, often exacerbating rumors and the perception of threat. The threat of nuclear war between major powers such as the United States, Russia, and China remains a constant concern. Additionally, nations like North Korea continue to develop nuclear programs, contributing to rumors of war. And with war comes famine and misery. And in Matthew 24 verse 7, we read the following passage, "Nation will rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. There will be famines and earthquakes in various places." Jesus warns us that, besides wars and rumors of wars, there would be a significant increase in natural disasters and humanitarian crises in the last days. These events are clear signs of the end times and indicate the approach of Christ's second coming. Famines have been a constant throughout human history, but modern times have seen an intensification of these crises due to various factors, including climate change, armed conflicts, and economic inequality. Several African countries, such as Somalia, South Sudan, and Ethiopia, have faced severe food crises due to internal conflicts, prolonged droughts, and lack of resources. Millions of people are at risk of famine. Pestilences, or epidemics, are another sign of the last days. Infectious diseases have caused great suffering and death worldwide, often challenging medical and scientific advances. The COVID-19 pandemic, which began in late 2019, quickly spread across the world, causing millions of deaths and leading to a global health crisis. The disease significantly impacted daily life, the economy, and health systems on all continents. Ebola epidemics in West and Central Africa have caused thousands of deaths and generated global fear due to the virus's high mortality rate. Earthquakes are one of the most devastating natural disasters, and the Bible predicts that their frequency and intensity would increase in the last days. The natural disasters and humanitarian crises mentioned are becoming more frequent and severe. Climate change contributes to the intensification of phenomena such as droughts, floods, and storms, exacerbating hunger and poverty in various regions of the world. Climate change has been blamed for the increased frequency and intensity of natural disasters, including wildfires, hurricanes, and floods, which result in mass displacement and food insecurity. Jesus warns us that, in the last days, there will be a significant increase in iniquity. Immorality and sin will become more common and accepted, resulting in a cooling of love and compassion among people. Iniquity refers to practices and behaviors that are contrary to God's commandments. In modern times, we see a growing acceptance of behaviors that the Bible classifies as sinful. Morality is becoming relative and subjective, rather than based on absolute principles. In many countries, abortion and euthanasia are becoming legalized and socially accepted, devaluing the sanctity of human life taught in the Scriptures. The acceptance and promotion of sexual lifestyles that contradict biblical teachings, such as premarital sex, are becoming normal in many cultures. Political corruption and business dishonesty are often accepted as normal practices, resulting in injustice and inequality. The Bible teaches the importance of ethical values such as honesty, integrity, love for others, and justice. However, These values are gradually being abandoned in many parts of the world. In Timothy 3:1-5 we read the following words, "But mark this, there will be terrible times in the last days. People will be lovers of themselves, lovers of money, boastful, proud, abusive, disobedient to their parents, ungrateful, unholy, without love, unforgiving, slanderous, without self-control, brutal, not lovers of the good, treacherous, rash, conceited, lovers of pleasure rather than lovers of God, having a form of godliness but denying its power. Have nothing to do with such people." This passage highlights the characteristics of society in the last days, including selfishness, greed, and ingratitude, which are symptoms of increased iniquity. The signs of increased iniquity are present in contemporary society in various ways. Social media and the internet have amplified the spread of ideologies that promote behaviors and values contrary to biblical principles. Additionally, the influence of secularist and relativist ideologies has led to the degradation of traditional moral values. The media and popular culture often glorify immoral behaviors and promote values that are contrary to biblical teachings. This includes the glorification of violence, promiscuity, and the incessant pursuit of pleasure and material success. And in Matthew 24:9, we read the following passage, "Then you will be handed over to be persecuted and put to death, and you will be hated by all nations because of me." Jesus predicted that his followers would face severe persecution in the last days. This persecution would be global, with Christians being hated and persecuted in all nations because of their faith in Jesus Christ. Since the times of the Roman Empire to modern persecutions in countries like China and North Korea, Christians have faced significant adversities. Persecution often results in imprisonment, torture, and even death. Persecution is not limited to a few specific countries. In many parts of the world, Christians face discrimination and hostility because of their faith. This persecution can range from denial of employment and education opportunities to physical violence and murder. The signs of religious persecution are evident in many parts of the world. Religious intolerance is growing, and Christians are often targets of discrimination and violence. Additionally, in some secularized societies, Christians face social and legal pressures that challenge their ability to freely practice their faith. Jesus stated that one of the conditions for the end times would be the preaching of the gospel to all nations. This is one of the most anticipated signs by Christians, as it marks the fulfillment of the Great Commission and the imminent return of Christ. With the advancement of technology and global missionary efforts, the gospel is being preached on an unprecedented scale. Missionary organizations, churches, and individuals are using all possible means to bring the message of Christ to the most remote corners of the earth. The preaching of the gospel to all nations is a significant sign because it demonstrates the fulfillment of the Great Commission given by Jesus. This global effort shows that the message of Christ is being taken seriously and that many are responding to the call to share the good news. Mark 16:15 quotes the following phrase, "He said to them, 'Go into all the world and preach the gospel to all creation.'" This verse reinforces the importance of the global mission and the role of every Christian in sharing the message of Jesus. The Bible predicts that before Christ's return, there will be a period of apostasy, a great falling away from the Christian faith. This departure from the faith will be a clear sign of the last days, setting the stage for the manifestation of the Antichrist. Apostasy is characterized by the deliberate and conscious abandonment of the Christian faith. This phenomenon can be observed in various forms in modern society, from the open rejection of biblical doctrine to the acceptance of false doctrines that dilute the message of the gospel. Many countries, especially in the West, have experienced increasing secularization. Churches are seeing a decline in attendance and a rise in the number of people identifying as non-religious. Movements promoting distorted theologies, such as the prosperity gospel, gain popularity, diverting people from the true message of Christ. Moral relativism, which denies the existence of absolute truths, has led many to abandon biblical teachings on morality and ethics. Apostasy not only weakens the faith of individuals, but also threatens the integrity and unity of the Church. The presence of false doctrines and corrupt leaders can cause internal divisions and lead many away from the truth. Some will abandon the true faith to follow deceptive teachings. This departure from the truth is clear evidence of the apostasy that precedes the end times. The signs of apostasy are increasingly visible in the contemporary church. The weakening of faith, the acceptance of false doctrines, and the abandonment of biblical principles are indicative of the fulfillment of this prophecy. In many Western countries, especially in Europe, there is a significant increase in the number of people identifying as atheists or agnostics. The Christian faith, once predominant, is in decline. These events are part of the Great Tribulation that will occur in the last days, a time of unprecedented suffering and persecution. This tribulation is characterized by a series of events that will bring pain and suffering to all humanity. This period will be a time of intense persecution against believers, natural catastrophes, and manifestations of divine judgment on earth. The Bible describes the Great Tribulation in several prophetic books, providing a detailed view of the events that will occur during this period. In Daniel 12 verse 1 we read, "At that time Michael, the great prince who protects your people, will arise. There will be a time of distress such as has not happened from the beginning of nations until then. But at that time your people, everyone whose name is found written in the book, will be delivered." This passage in Daniel speaks of a time of unprecedented distress, but also mentions protection for those found in the book of life. In Revelation 7 verse 14, we find the following words, "I answered, Sir, you know?" And he said, "These are they who have come out of the great tribulation. They have washed their robes and made them white in the blood of the Lamb." Here, in Revelation, we see a vision of the saints who persevered during the Great Tribulation, highlighting the importance of faith and spiritual purity. The frequency and intensity of natural disasters have increased, causing large-scale destruction and reminding us of Jesus' words about the birth pains that precede the tribulation. And in 2 Thessalonians 2 verses 3-4, we read the following passage, "Don't let anyone deceive you in any way. For that day will not come until the rebellion occurs and the man of lawlessness is revealed, the man doomed to destruction. He will oppose and will exalt himself over everything that is called God or is worshipped." This passage refers to the Antichrist. The Bible describes the Antichrist as a figure of enormous influence in the final events. Known as the man of lawlessness and the son of destruction, the Antichrist will oppose everything divine and seek to usurp the worship that is due to God. The Antichrist will be a world leader who will bring a period of false peace before revealing his true tyrannical nature. He will be a charismatic and deceptive figure, attracting many followers through false signs and wonders. He will rise against everything that is called God or is worshipped, seeking to exalt himself above all. Through lying wonders and signs, the Antichrist will deceive many, as described in 2 Thessalonians 2 verses 9-10. The coming of the lawless one will be in accordance with how Satan works. He will use all sorts of displays of power through signs and wonders that serve the lie. He will establish a global government, exercising authority over all nations and demanding worship, as mentioned in Revelation 13 verses 7-8. It was given power to wage war against God's holy people and to conquer them. And it was given authority over every tribe, people, language, and nation. All inhabitants of the earth will worship the beast, all whose names have not been written in the Lamb's book of life, the Lamb who was slain from the creation of the world. The rise of the Antichrist will mark a period of great tribulation and persecution. He will implement a system that will economically control the world population, forcing everyone to receive the mark of the beast to buy or sell. The Bible tells us that cosmic signs will precede the second coming of Christ. These signs will serve as a final warning of the imminent conclusion of the times. Before Christ's return, there will be significant disturbances in the cosmos, affecting the sun, the moon, and the stars. These events will cause great terror and perplexity among the nations. Events such as solar and lunar eclipses, along with other anomalies, will serve as visible signs that something significant is about to happen. Phenomena such as intense meteor showers, comets, and other astronomical disturbances will be seen as signs of the imminent end. The Earth will also experience great earthquakes and tsunamis, increasing the sense of anguish and fear among the nations. After these signs, the second coming of Christ will be a glorious and visible event. He will come on the clouds with power and great glory, as described in Matthew 24 verse 30. Then will appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven, and then all the peoples of the earth will mourn when they see the Son of Man coming on the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. The events prophesied in the Bible about the last days are unfolding before our eyes. From the rise of the Antichrist to the celestial signs that will precede the return of Christ, we are called to be vigilant and to keep our faith firm amidst adversities.